So today we're going to discuss about something that unites all of us. This is the KeyChron Q6 Max. And mechanical keyboards are the main way that we use to communicate right now. I made less phone calls than I wrote messages to my friends in the last year. So let's see how having a high-end mechanical keyboard will help you stay in touch with your loved ones. So this is literally my favorite keyboard of all times, and it is a keyboard that you can customize to a degree which is not heard of in audio. So starting with the basic shape, this is a mechanical keyboard. It is a huge slab of aluminum, so solid and so rigid. There will be no flex. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you can't flex something like this. You may see some eraser rubbers on the back, and those are there because I like to angle my keyboards a bit higher. So I like for them to come like this instead of being a bit flatter. It just feels more natural to my fingers and to my hands. I guess I grew in a time where keyboards used to have little plastic feet, but for something which weighs about 2 kilograms, this can't really be supported by plastic feet. Speaking of the pricing, KeyChron Q6 Max is a keyboard which is priced at $219 in the default state that you can see right here. So this piece will cost you $219. The piece which I typically write on and the configuration that I have will cost you about $300. And I had to borrow this from a friend just to show you in this video what it would look like. He has the black version, while I do have the white version in for review. So the idea with this keyboard is that it's fully customizable. So the idea with the keyboard is that you can fully customize it, but that's not everything. Just because it's customizable doesn't mean that it will be excellent by default. The chassis design and the construction matters a bit more than just what switches you put on and what keycaps, because a keyboard also has damping foam on the inside, and the KeyChron Q6 Max has a combination of silicone and PA foam inside, which will help it create the sound profile it has. This sound profile is achieved with multiple layers of foam and other materials that help you dampen the sound and create its unique profile. Also, the default one can come with multiple switches, but especially if you are someone who isn't sure what they need, or if you are someone who is just starting, get red switches. I would never recommend anyone to do like me and work with brown switches for a long period of time, because I discovered that brown switches aren't really for typing. They aren't great for the thousands of reviews that I wrote. I would just grab red switches in general. The default version comes with Gateron Jupiter red switches, some of the best switches that I felt in my entire life. I originally was using the Everglide Aqua King version 3 switches, which are supposed to be the smoothest switch available on the market. But the Gateron Jupiter Red feels much smoother, it's easier to press, and it's more natural for my fingers. Although it does have one disadvantage, the light is more obscure on the Gateron. So Everglide has a transparent case, which helps it transmit more light, while this one, you can barely see that it has light effects. As you can see, in this video is not even that visible. The default keycaps are side printed, which I never knew I needed, but look beautiful in person. Yet the default keycap profile is really good in the ergonomics, but it's one of the edgy profiles. So there are two types of profiles. Those which are edgy, like Cherry and XDA and most profiles, and those which are rounded, like the MOA profile. The rounded profiles tend to have a round edge to each key, which allows you to glide your finger more freely. They actually reduce your accuracy by 1 to 3%, so you will type a bit worse on the MOA profile keycaps, but it's so much more comfortable to type that it won't matter. So for example, I type between 10,000 words and 50,000 words per day of content. This is how much I type. Having a MOA profile is so much more essential than having to edit the few words which I misspell using the MOA profile. But the default profile is absolutely stunning. In fact, it's so beautiful that I contemplated just keeping this keyboard as it is, as it came from the factory. On the customized version that I have here, I personally customize it for my friends. So I have replaced the default stabilizers with Pygo stabilizers, which are about $20 to $30 for a set. The problem is that once you replace the default keycaps, the stabilizers don't work as well. So the original stabilizers were made for the original keycaps. Otherwise, you'll hear a metal clinking. The original stabilizers don't go quite as deep inside of the key. So as you can see, I managed to eliminate that entirely. No more clinking noise. Also, the spacebar can be pressed evenly. I also replaced the original switches with silent switches, with the TTC frozen silent switches. The problem with the original red switches is that they're not silent. And because the originals are not silent, if you type with someone in the same room, they may go insane because they will hear your clacking all the time. And I thought to myself, I must solve that somehow. It's not that the original sound profile isn't beautiful. It sounds like little marbles falling on a marble floor. It's superb, it's really nice. But the problem is that you don't want to hear something 24/7. You just don't want to hear something at all. So when studying which silent switch to go for, I have decided on the TTC frozen silent switch because they are known to be the smoothest and the most silent without feeling mushy. The original switch feels a bit more crisp. It's a bit more responsive. The silent switch is not quite as good as the original, but that's a problem with the switch. And now we return to the keyboard. KeyChron Q6 Max is one of the very few keyboards which is made in the 100% format, which is this format, where you have the numpad, you have the arrow keys, and you have those functional keys. I find every single one of those keys essential for my work. For example, I'm writing a review and I need some information. I will click on the print screen. I need the print screen to exist. I will program. If I do programming, I need a numpad because I cannot really type in variables without the numpad. So for me, the numpad is essential. Then the function row. I debug sometimes. I debug my website. I debug my game. I need a function row as well. And this is why I kept upgrading the keyboards. At some point, I contemplated just using the Akko mountain seclusion, which was superb in the sound profile and really satisfying. But at the end of the day, I can't really use anything besides a 100% keyboard. I need every single key. It's essential for me. And KeyChron is one of the very few companies that takes it seriously. They really take us, power users, seriously. Now, upon disassembling it, you even get the tools in the package. You remove the back, and then you can remove and replace every single component. Every single component can be purchased, serviced, and KeyChron will help replace every single component and give you the instructions to fix it. Generally, you don't have to ship the Q6 Max back to them at any second. This keyboard is so resilient and so well made that I managed to bend some of the pins on the PCB and I was getting missed inputs while I replaced the switches and the keycaps. So I thought to myself that I must have broken it. I took it apart once again and I investigated every single part of the keyboard and I figured that some of the pins on the PCB were bent where the keyboard connects to this Type-C connector. I thought to myself, okay, I screwed it. I should purchase a new PCB. And then I remembered I can do some DIY, so do it yourself. So I took a sewing needle and I tried to bend the pins into shape. Managed to do that. It works. No problem so far. So it's a really well-made keyboard. For my subjective impressions, it's the best keyboard I was able to find, regardless of the price point. At $219, I was able to find a ton of keyboards. The market really is full, but none of them didn't quite compare to the KeyChron Q6 Max. This one has double gaskets, so it has a gasket above and a gasket beneath the PCB, which create cushioning for when you press each keyboard. So every single time you press a keyboard, you can press a bit more than the bottom out position on it. This creates a slightly cushioned feeling which takes some of the pain out of your fingertips. There is cushioning between the top and the bottom layer of the keyboard. So the top is made of aluminum, the bottom is made of aluminum, and on the original Q6, before the Q6 Max was released, they didn't have any kind of silicone damping or such. So some of my friends who purchased this used to do a little mod where they would use some isolation tape between the top and the bottom parts to cancel some of the metal clanking noise. The Q6 Max doesn't have any. There is silicone padding right out of the factory. The Q6 Max is finally mature and it is the best keyboard I can recommend to you. It's pure love. Just look at this. It's absolutely stunning, looks amazing. This is the default version. This is everything stock. So nothing replaced on this one. This is what you will get out of the factory. And then here we have a fully modded variant. Also beautiful. Just look at the quality on this thing. This has been used for almost an entire year. No scratch on the KeyChron Q6 Max. So this is what surprised me the most. You can actually use this in, I don't know, not gamer rage, because my friend isn't a big rageful gamer, but you can use it. You can actually use this for your daily tasks and it will survive every single one of those tasks. There is not a single keyboard on the market that I would recommend more than the KeyChron Q6 Max for the generic and the power user. If you are someone who wants a smaller keyboard, we make reviews on those, and we have a ton of smallish keyboards that you can explore when reading Audiophile Heaven. You'll have a blast with them. But if you program, if you need the numpad, so far, this is the 100% keyboard that convinced me and stole my heart. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I am also stealing your love. Please do subscribe to the channel, please like this video, and I hope you will be watching other videos too. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope we'll see each other really soon. Bye!